Hi, folks. Very good afternoon. How are you doing? I hope your people are faring very well and you have a great day. So, as discussed that a number of times that we will try and stand reading comprehension from various angles, from various ways of looking at it, and one very important way to look at from the content, the kind of reading comprehension is it from uh, the subject it deals with. So the subject of the RC, we can understand and we can get hold of a few difficult or certain commonly asked or sort of areas or topics where we commonly find problems, then we can probably do better in that verbal ability comprehension section. So reading comprehension basically tries to test your ability to read text which you have not read, which you the chances that you haven't ever come across, you might never come across it ever. At the same time, it does not seeks to uh, validate or verify your ability to uh, have subjective knowledge or deep, in-depth understanding of the topics given in that particular reading. For example, if it deals with something related to learning and development challenges in autistic kids, and some very complex uh, biochemical level or molecular level information, some very specific jargons if the topic is related to say rocket engineering or space technology, and something very or say something related to the medical science, and the terminology, the jargon, what we say, or the language specific to a typical branch of knowledge given in a great number, and you are not able to make head and tail out of that piece, still the questions will be formed in such a way that even if you read the RC once, actively read it once, then you will be able to solve at least 50% to 80% of the questions given. There are four questions, at least two questions you'll be able to answer, or you'll be able to answer. There are three to five questions, and you'll be able to answer correctly. Another important thing is that you should not feel bad if you're not able to understand philosophical or abstract RCs, have some very difficult language. You need not get worried about them, because the kind of audience it is written for is very different than the normal cat taking, the people who write or take cat. Uh, Certain articles, certain editorials, certain research papers are written only for the academic purposes, written for a certain kind of people who have been in a certain field for many number of years. May not be meant, say, if a report which is prepared only by very senior scientist, or a report and it's prepared by a very senior scientist on in a particular specific branch of knowledge, then they may not care to make the piece very explanatory or very descriptive in nature. They may just put in so many facts and so many abstract themes inside, so much of information there without explaining it, because they believe it to be shared, or they believe to have a shared knowledge or shared consciousness or an awareness among them. So this RC can be picked up from any of such disparate areas that we've discussed. How do we manage this sort of ideas? We manage ideas by first making summary, making a map of whatever is happening, uh, using pen and paper to make some notes, uh, and trying and understanding the main ideas again given, and the understanding of central idea or primary purpose of the passage to be very uh, then also if you find that There are a lot of direct questions. Then it's okay. We can just go back to the very RC or the piece where we remember where we at that very. We can go and refer back to it. If you find that uh, a certain that majority of the questions they refer to one particular part of the passage or one particular paragraph or few particular paragraphs of an entire long passage, then we can focus you can focus a little more on that area than the other paragraphs. You can spend more time understanding the finer nuances of what is there in the sometimes it also happens that the options will be very close. Common sense will also be used here, that if you're reading a particular word, if you're reading a particular options, do they really match to the information given there? Okay, or is just that the options are very close and they have been kept to confuse you also. Reading the options very closely, reading the questions very closely. So also, if you're not able to understand the entire passage or paragraph in one go, it is absolutely all right. It is absolutely all right to come back and read the passage one more. It is also important to understand that you need not get belittled if you cannot understand whatever is said at once. So let's go ahead. Let's go to the our piece. So my name is Anupam. So if you like the kind of work which I'm doing over here, techniques which we discussed, and techniques I like all these aspects, then probably can download, install, and so. So the idea is that if you like the kind of work which we do, really we're going to make so many amazing aspects. We're going to discuss so many amazing aspects to that that's going to be really really helpful and uh, to gain more information about it, to gain more knowledge, to get a lot of test series which we discuss. Solving test series is very important. Solving content apart from whatever we discuss, books, what sort of content you're solving online questions is all. So you will get all this if you download and install on Academy app. Go to Plus, go to Cat, subscribe, and have these wherein any sense 12 months the pricing it be low as Saxena 10 is my code. If you use this code, you will get uh, this is what we're saying, that I was just getting in the beginning, that simplify the RC, use the in there, make a chart of whatever you've read, structure of whatever you, and you keep moving forward, keep questions, attempt easy questions, try and solve the easy questions that are easier than the first or earlier, and try and do uh, do 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 them earlier. Probably it is This maybe the questions have been framed in a way to keep you hooked on to certain difficult parts, or maybe you might, as a part of your exam, uh, might get attached to certain area, certain topic, and you're not doing things properly. So you don't understand things completely. So solving few questions solved correctly also very important. Not feel belittled if you are unable to understand everything message or so. So uh, it's possible that sometimes that you're not able to understand whatever is being asked of you, all the questions that may take one or two more reading. You may be able to crack it. Then you might want to come back to the passage, again have a look back. So that might also be very helpful. Uh, doing all this will help. Avoiding the traps of wasting more time than you might. The thing is that it's also very important that you understand sometimes, because you get attached to a particular question, or you start feeling vulnerable, you start feeling particular RC is something which everybody else might have understood, or and very easy for everybody, or there are some people who read a lot of good English, only they can solve this question. Probably I should have read that RC, should have tried that technique, I should have read that book, I should have that is not the time to do that, and it's all negative thoughts which uh, mind, and to be just aware of them. That's why we ask you to take more and more RCs, so that more and more test preparation quizzes exercise, aware of your own thoughts and emotions. And these are just thoughts which come to you, and they don't have any real emotion in. So avoiding these thoughts and avoiding this trap of spending too much time on a particular question is also going to harm. So agenda is to understand, to read it, and to try and solve the questions. If you're not able to do it once more. If it's specific to area or branch of knowledge, or branch of part of the passage, you can go back again. Still, if you're not able to solve it, then probably you should move back to the parts of the uh, other parts of the examinations, because you remember that the agenda is not to do everything correctly, but to do few things, try and do most of the things correctly and accurately. Probably there are other pieces, other parts of the examination you can solve better than this. And since it's like maybe the question is so difficult, it's difficult for everybody. It is not only you for whom this one should not fall in that trap actually. Uh, Sometimes it is also seen that people get very much disturbed or very much afraid after looking at philosophical or abstract, the first few lines. My suggestion to people is that probably you are afraid because your experiences of writing such as such pieces have been negative. They have not proved as, but they have improved as scoring as possible. So the aim here should be that you read it at least once, go through it at least, and there will be some direct questions also, or some application questions, not which will not be so difficult. There will be always one or two questions out of say three or four or five, six, which or three questions out of six, one question out of three, two questions out of four or five, which maybe which are easy, which are not so difficult. Solved if you have read the passage. These one or two questions here and there can things which you will be able to solve, but certain things you're not able to solve. If you're able to solve some part of it also, you have actually done. You've actually made a point, moved ahead, because it's all about getting those critical two, three, or five questions correct. Because that critical two, three, four, five questions, if you try and solve from those areas which you think which were difficult for you, in which you were weaker thus far, will make all the difference. Let's go up the ante and you have to take a game to the uh, another point is that sometimes it happens, like we mentioned here, that find the paras or para that are being referred to in the questions more often than others. Sometimes it is that, say the passage has three or four paragraphs, but it has got four or five questions. But so mostly questions, or more than one, at least three to four questions or five questions, or all the questions, they are basically referring to they're basically referring uh, to uh, one single part or one single piece of the passage. For example, that there is a passage given which has two paragraphs, and there are three questions. All the three are referring to one single paragraph. So one technique is that, which I don't recommend, is that reading the questions first, but and then reading the passage. But I have found over with experience that this particular technique of reading questions first and answering the question later on doesn't work out very often. In fact, it really, it seldom works. What is the agenda? What one must do is that if one finds that there is one particular area or branch of knowledge where the questions are being asked, there's one particular part of the passage, then one can go back and read it all over again. One need not read the other paragraphs or piece or part of the passage again. We find that say, three or four lines or five lines are being often asked. Then one can have a relook at it, and do not mark it if you are not sure about it. Leave it. And like I said, that spending too much time can be counterproductive. And if you spend 5 more minutes on it, the accuracy or the score might not improve. Even if you spend 10 more minutes on it, but spending 10 more minutes is going to affect, it's going to take away your time, because sometimes it happens, no, mostly it happens that you have focused so much of energy and emotional investment, and you have so much of time investment on this very ask. But there were other pieces and other RCs and other questions which were relatively easier, and your percentile would have gone up by say more than 20% or 15% or 30% if you had just been smart enough and just had some time to look at those questions. These errors are not to be made, and this, so I have a separate class on how these challenges. uh, we will discuss it in yeah. So I hope it's clear. So let's try and solve the RC. Something special also that I have made some handwritten notes, small map. Is it visible to you? Are you people able to see it? Please, if you're able to miss any, if you miss anything, just please make a comment in the end. Uh, so it's visible for you. Start reading. Uh, so Rain. This is Rene Descartes. Rene Descartes was a so Rene Descartes is basically a philosopher, a French philosopher who about things breaking the problem into was a very rational person. God or so so Rene Descartes' assertion that ideas may be held true infinity if they are clear and distinct provides a context. This is life. Or if you are philosopher whose name is title How to Make Our Ideas Clear. Peirce argued that an idea may seem clear if it's familiar. Distinctness depends on having good definition. And while definitions are desirable, they do not yield any new knowledge or certainty of the truth of empirical propositions. Peirce argues thought needs that thought needs more than a sense of clarity, matter for making ideas. So they're saying that Peirce argued that ideas that an idea may seem clear if it's to a person, uh, if one is familiar to those ideas. The point is that one must also uh, have a method for making ideas. Now, Rene Descartes said that anything which is clear and distinct can uh, can be proved to be true. But Case had some different ideas. They said that more than thought needs more than to be clear. There should be a method of making ideas. Then he says that he also mentions that definitions are desirable, but they do not yield any further knowledge or any further uh, logic based proof, any scientific evidence that whether they're clear or whether they're true or not. When we come further down, once we have made an idea clear, then we can begin the task of determining its truth. Okay? So this once the idea is clear, then we can begin the task of determining truth. The method that Peirce offers came to be known as the pragmatic method, and the epistemology on which it demands is pragmatism. What is saying that this particular entire idea of is known as pragmatism. But then so much of is been written, we might not find any questions from this part of the paragraph. So just making an overview notes of this is all right. In the first go. Then Pierce rejected, rejected Descartes' uh, method of doubt. We cannot doubt something for the sake of method that we do not doubt in fact. So they're saying that when something is doubtful, we'll doubt it irrespective of the method used there. Because Descartes' idea was method of doubt. So he said that there is nothing called method of doubt. If we doubt something, in fact, we doubt it in its method. In a in a later essay, he would take as his rule, dismiss make believes. This refers to Descartes' method of doubting things in safety of his study, such thing as existence of the uh, material world, which he did not doubt when he went out on the street. Pierce proposed that a philosophical investigation can begin from only one state of mind, namely the state of mind in which we find ourselves. We begin. If any of us examines our state of mind, the first two kinds of thoughts, the beliefs and doubts. Pierce had presented the interaction of the doubt and belief in an earlier essay, the fixation of. So, so they're saying that here the philosophy of Mr. Pierce is coming the picture. They're saying that he believes that uh, the the disagreement between Descartes and Pierce is coming here, and what is importantly coming out here that that we can start the in investigation from our state of minds. And there are two state of mind. One is belief, and one is doubt. And uh, and basically, and so this is how he has presented it thus far. All right, and goes further. If we have sort of to summarize something else here, which we will require, we can come back here. But we are not very sure, so we'll quickly come back the second part of the paragraph here. Beliefs and doubts are distinct. Beliefs consist of states of mind in which we would make a statement. Doubts are states in which we would ask a question. So they're saying that belief and doubt are distinct states of mind, and when we have a belief in something, we will make a statement. When we have a question, when we like to ask question, that will happen if we have doubt. We say that we experience a doubt as a sense of uneasiness and hesitation. Whenever we have a doubt, there is a sense of uneasiness, and we tend to sort of hesitate. There is a sense of anxiety or sense of lack of control over things. Doubt serves as an irritant that causes us to appease it by answering a question and thereby fixing the belief and putting the mind to rest. Doubt desires us to sort of reduce, plexate it, or to sort of mollify, or to make it less severe, make the things more comfortable, because you've seen uneasiness and hesitation happens when doubt occurs. So do it by answering a question, and we form a belief around it so that the question rests in our mind. A common example of a doubt would be arriving in a, so now the giving example is to make us understand. A common example of a doubt would be arriving in a unfamiliar city and not being sure of the location of our destination address in relation to our present location. Saying that a common example would be that that we go to a new city and the person doesn't know the location of the address in relation to the present location. Saying that overcome this doubt and fix a belief by getting the directions. So we overcome this doubt by doubt they have. They sort of particular address. They ask questions, put to rest whatever uneasiness, anxiety they have. Then they then they sort of they fix a belief in it and say that to overcome this doubt and fix a belief by getting the. This is also clear that doubt also results in belief. Doubts can also result in belief. Once you achieve a belief, we can take necessary actions to reach our destination. Only after belief we have action. Once we have a belief that okay, this is going to work out, this is how we have to go to a place, then we will take actions to reach, right? But we should believe that we will be able to reach there, based by this process. We have got the information, basis information. We can PS defines a belief subjectively as something of which we are aware and which appeases the doubt. So he says that PS believes a belief subjectively as something of which we are aware which appeases the doubt. Objectively, a belief is a rule of action. The whole purpose of thought consists of overcoming a doubt, attaining a belief. That if you look at subjectively, beliefs task is to basically to make us aware and to reduce our doubt and hence a feeling of uneasiness. Primary purpose of a belief is uh, to overcome a thought, overcome a doubt, and to find a belief. And Pierce acknowledges that some people like to think about things or argue about them without caring to find a true belief. He's saying that there are such people. There are such people who do not aspire to find uh, any true belief, uh, but they like to think about it, or they like to argue uh, about it, but they do not have the intention is not to reach a belief. Like in general, when we have a doubt about something, ask questions, try to get only from a belief, and then we sort of okay, we know about it. And, objectively, it becomes a rule of action, and subjectively, we are aware and it reduces our doubt. And some people do it. Uh, some people do it without having any such intention. Yes, it acknowledges that some people like to think about things or argue about them without caring to find a true belief. But he asserts that such uh, dilettantism, which actually means when you try to do something amateurly, you do not do it in a do it seriously. You're trying to do it in a you're not serious about it. Does not constitute thought. The belief that we hold determine how we will act. So, so it says that the belief which we hold uh, determine as to how we will be acting. If we believe rightly or wrongly, uh, that the building we are trying to reach sits one block to a north, so we may believe it incorrectly, or we may make an error also. Um, that building. So this is also important. That belief that we hold determine how we will act. So if we believe something will be acting accordingly on it. So if we believe rightly or wrongly that the building that we are trying to reach, it's one block to a north, we will walk in the direction. We have beliefs about matters of here, fact, here and far. We believe in the real objects in front of us, and we believe generally accepted historical statements. They're saying that we have a lot of beliefs about a lot of things, and uh, we have certain beliefs that how far our objects statements. Uh, we also believe in relations of such ideas, such as that 7 and 5 equal 12. In certain relations, seem to believe that 5 and 7, well, they don't pertain. Certain things which are implicit or such we believe it to be true. In addition to these, we have many beliefs about science, politics, economics, religions, and so they're saying that we can have, so the author says that we are having a lot of beliefs about other branches of knowledge like science, politics, religion. And some of our beliefs may be false, well, capable of making errors. So they're saying that we are capable of making errors and we may be false here. Believe something means to think that it is. So to believe something means to that it is believe it to be true. It may, and here was made a small. I made a small. That made a small chart for you people that doubt basically that doubt basically gives rise to question, and that becomes belief. Belief subjectively is awareness, and it reduces our doubts. Objectively it leads to, if we believe that something holds true, we will act accordingly. And basically on the a very objective scenario, and if we see from a very subjective standpoint, we see that it is awareness and it sort of reduces our doubts. There is no empirical data such as action to support it, but to some extent the uneasiness or the anxiety or the lack of confidence or lack of surety or the human desire to make sense of themselves and make sense of the reality, and the curiosity or the quest for knowledge, that is sort of dissipated or quenched when there is a belief. Then comes doubt, which results in question, belief. So this is the sort of small things that probably I'll be uh, so let's come back to the question. According to peers, for a particular thought, which of the following statements will be correct? Uh, for a particular thought, which of the following questions statements will be correct? A belief always leads to a doubt. A doubt always leads to a belief. A doubt and a belief may coexist. A doubt and a belief may coexist. No, because if there is belief, doubt doesn't stay. Doubt it reduces the doubt. It sort of stops the doubt. Um, Belief and a doubt are not related. No, they are disparate, but a doubt may lead to a belief. If you have a doubt and you ask questions, then you will lead to a belief. The belief may or may not be correct as a fact, but it will lead to believe that, yeah, I know something and I have an awareness. Now my doubts have been reduced. Be more confident in steps. Objectively takes action. So E is the right. Number 4 leads to E. A candidate has applied for ZAT. According to peers, it indicates that. So a candidate has applied for ZAT. Uh, According to peers, it indicates that if a person has applied for ZAT, what can be the belief of person? What do we think? Belief can be that that ZAT can be a good institute. That process the interest better, the yeah, getting good marks in that. Person will be thinking that, okay, probably foolproof process that judge resulting in something which is trustworthy. When you apply for an institution, you believe in it. So a candidate has a belief in that application process. This is true because if applied in it, then basically there's a belief there, because it's only through action. For action, a person must have some certain belief. And belief is that the ZAT application process is correct. It's there, or he or she will get an admit card, he or she will get a chance to write the paper. The candidate has a belief that ZAT is a good test of ability. So maybe a good test of ability, but the person may not, or the person has to also show that the application process will actually result in an application grant of a seat if one does well there. So first belief is more important, that not only a test of ability, but a something which will result in a, there is the process is honored, and it's something which I trust in. As an institute, if you pay for pay the fees, you will get a call letter, you will be given a center, you will be allocated, you will be given basic uh, uh, amenities at the test center, you will be given an opportunity to come to pass it. These questions are always asked. Is this basic ability will be, candidate believes that he or she will perform well in that. That he she will perform well in that. Uh, Now this belief may or may not be there. So uh, saying that person believes that he or she will do, there is no doubt that she will do well in that. This uh, is something which we are not sure of by the information. But what we are sure of, that if the person has applied for that, then there is a chance that that the person has believed in the fairness of the process when it comes to, and the candidate has a doubt about his or her performance in other MBAs. We don't their MBA right for other B schools, pay the fees. Candidate has a belief following words is the closest in meaning to dilettantism? Dilettantism, what is the closest word? Remember we had this word here. So, uh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Ninth line, we see that the whole process of thought consists in overcoming a doubt and attaining a belief. Pierce acknowledges that some people like to think about things or argue about them without caring to find a true belief, but he asserts that such dilettantism does not constitute. So when people are not serious about it, they're doing something as a serious business, and they're not bothered about it. Basically, they're not very worried if it, and finding the true belief, finding clearing the doubts is they if there is in action involved, or probably their doubts are not important to them, or it doesn't sort of creates a sense of anxiety or the sense for know more about it. So probably it is something which is not very so uh, related to it. Belief, so it is not. Doubt, it is not, because doubt is a very broad word here. We're not talking about doubt here. We're talking about a person's an aspect of a behavior which that there is lack of seriousness. Surety is again opposite. Unlikelihood is again guess is the best. Because there is guess here. Uh, Lack of seriousness, lack of not done with enough seriousness. So guess is the right. Next comes that a person thinks that she has to keep awake for 20 hours in a day to score well in an ex, examination, but is awake for only 15. For the above statement, which of the following options will be right according to Pierre? This person believes in a minimum sleep of 10 hours. This person does not have a true belief. C. It is a counter argument of Pierre's theory. D. It is only a thought, a pure thought, nothing to do with action. E. uh, the person does not have a doubt. So see, let's look at option number A. If this person believes in a minimum 10 hours of sleep, then 10 plus 15 is 25. The number of hours in a day are 24. So this is completely, this option falls flat. B. This person doesn't have a true belief. Yeah, because the person thinks that the person that he or she will stay awake for 20 hours a day to score well, but the person uh, it is not a true belief, bro. It is a counter argument of Pierre's theory. No, it is not a counter argument. There is no such argument given. In fact, it says according to Pierce, it is only a thought, pure thought, and nothing to do with action. So it says that it is just a thought, and it has to do nothing with the action, which it is just a pure thought. And the person doesn't have a doubt. So it says that person doesn't have a doubt, but here basically doubt is not being considered. Talking about belief of a person, and a person believes, but somewhere the belief is not true because the person stays awake for 10 hours. It's a thought, a pure thought, and but thought generally we have context is that that when a thought it will only lead to a belief, and a belief will only lead to an action. So basically, what they're trying to say here is that this is not a true belief. Remember, here which we had, belief subjectively leave awareness, it reduces doubt and it results in action, right? So, so person is not acting accordingly, it means that it doesn't have a true belief. Case sounded all right, but we can see that 10 plus 15 is, if I would say that the person is awake for 15 hours and stays at minimum 10 hours, then also hours, then it's again it's 5 hours, it's not 4 hours, so again it is that it, so B is the, so I hope the new tech do more bring in more handwritten in front of you so that you do better, and series which doing a lot of hard work coming at support us, follow us, like, subscribe and share. An academy subscription board analysis, you would succeed. So will able